Hello, everybody! Meet my friend, Susan Crossman. We met at a retreat recently. It was wonderful. So, go ahead and introduce me, Susan.
Well, Sandra Lee, so lovely to be here with you today. I am absolutely delighted to be uh, considering myself to be part of your community and part of the people who you know to be on this kind of path that we have together in life. And we did meet at a retreat recently, and I really am delighted to be able to introduce Sandra. She is an energetic initiator and life coach for women entrepreneurs. And she does a lot of really important work in helping particularly women entrepreneurs find their way through the clutter of chaos that sometimes accompanies this entrepreneurial journey that we're on. She is a vast fountain of knowledge about business, particularly, and about what we need to be doing in order to improve our results in business. But also, Sandra Lee works on an energetic level, which means that she is extremely adept at being able to help people identify where they're getting in their own way and release those blockages so that we can power forward in the most impactful and aligned way for who we are and how we are being in the world. So, Sandra, welcome to this opportunity to chat. And I'm just delighted to be here with you. And I can't wait to hear what you have to share with us today.
Thank you, Susan. I
Yeah.
love being interviewed and interviewing my friends.
Yeah.
It's
Is
so much
this
fun.
fun?
Yes,
So,
yes.
Sandra, I'd love to start with a little question about how did you get into this world? What brought you into doing what you're doing today?
The truth is that I started with science.
Oh,
I have a bachelor's in chemistry where I learned a lot about science and the value that I find I take forward into now from that is that I learned how to be both logical and scientific and energetic. So, not many people take a science education. I went to the California Institute of Technology, so pretty high level stuff. And I didn't want to do scientific research. I used to do like synthetic chemistry, trying to make better plastic. It's like
wow.
completely not who I am now. And so I decided I didn't want to do that. And I got a clerical job. And then I started studying acupressure. And that's how I got into doing healing work. And I've been doing healing ever since. But as a massage therapist and as an energy healer person, I help people understand what's going on scientifically, what's going on in their body, as well as be able to relate to it and make sense of it. So a lot of things about how the body works, people don't understand. How does digestion work? How come my back hurts? All of these things, and I help people understand the science of those things.
Ah, so that's very practical,
Hmm.
actually. And let's go back to studying acupressure. What inspired you to start looking at acupressure as a way to, well, I mean, and why? I mean, as a way to what? I don't even know. What was it that led you into that?
Kind of by accident. So as a student in college, I used to do casual massages for people, and I didn't know what I was doing, didn't know I was helping them, didn't know if I was hurting them. And so after school, I got a job, and then I decided, I was in Berkeley at the time, and there was this place called the Acupressure Institute. And so I was like, oh, this is interesting. And so I just kind of found it by accident. It wound up that continuing doing acupressure wasn't really my thing, but I started on that healing path and then came to the things that I've learned I'm doing now, kind of a little bit by accident and a little bit by experimentation. Over the years, I've learned so many things and found that some of them work for me and some of them don't. So, part of what I help people understand is you have to be doing what's in alignment with you, what feels right for you. So, acupressure, for example, I like learning it, but the way of following the specific protocols, it's like, yeah, it's not really for me. And so I just stopped doing it. When I found biofield tuning, which is one of the healing methods I do now, working with sound, I learned a protocol, and I can do the protocol, but I mostly don't do the protocol because my way is more intuitive, and I have the information of the protocol to follow, just like I know the meridian points and I can follow some of the meridian points from the acupressure years, but I'm not following the protocol so much. So it's in my back pocket if I decide I want that tool, but I use the sound intuitively in a different way than I was taught. So I found my own way that's in alignment with me. And what do I do with that information is also something that comes in and is in alignment with me.
I love that. And I have another question for you coming out of that is, well, let's look at that for a minute. How do these tools impact someone's performance in their business, say, or on their job? What's the connection between the energetic perspective with either sound or acupressure or, I mean, massage therapy or any kind of body work? Like how does that impact our performance?
So my way of working with that is based on energetic flow. So let me tell you a little bit about how I perceive how I work with the flow of energy. And it's based on thinking about my body. And if I want my body to function properly, the energy needs to be flowing through it, coming from the ground, through my body, and out the top of my head, and coming from out above God's sun, down through my body, connecting me to the earth.
Can I just interrupt for a second?
Yeah.
What I'm reminded of is a garden hose with water flowing through it.
Yes.
And if there's a kink in the hose, the water can't get through. So similarly, is that like
Yes.
the energy flowing through us? If there's a kink in our hose of our body, then the energy doesn't flow properly. Is that similar?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
So for that energy to function, for the body to function, that energy needs to be flowing through. So let's think about it. Say some people have carpal tunnel and issues with their wrists and tightness in their shoulders and in their neck. So there's enough energy flowing through the body for the person to be alive. But if they've got tension, stress, pressures, overuse, then the energy gets stuck in those areas and it's not flowing through properly. So their ability to use the tool at the end, their hand, is compromised by all of these energy blocks. And what are the energy blocks that can come here? Stress, pressure, the weight of too many responsibilities, as well as physical injuries. All of those things combine together to block up the flow of energy through the channels.
So when the energy isn't getting through, the tool doesn't work. Or it might work, it won't be as impactful or effective as it could be if the energy was flowing well.
Yes. Let's take an example. If I've got so much stress and so much pressure, perhaps some injuries, that my neck hurts and I have a headache, yes, I can kind of sort of function, but am I functioning well? I'm going to be struggling. And if I'm actually in pain, that pain is distracting my attention, and it's going to be hard to focus on something I really want to accomplish, something that's important for me to do. When we do massage therapy and release the tension in the muscles, that can help. But I also find when I was doing massage therapy that it was so much more beneficial if I help the person realize, what is it that is stored in there? What is the stress? What is the pressure? You're worried about your granddaughter and something that's happening with your granddaughter. That is stored in this area of the body, making the connection between the physical symptom and the mental and emotional and spiritual things that are blocked there makes so much difference. Because with that understanding, the person can say, oh, I have this headache. Oh, but you know what? I've really been worried about my granddaughter. Okay, so what can I do about that? And are there things that I can do to help allow the energy to flow through so that I'm not pulling that energy up here into my head and allowing myself to settle back into my body? So awareness of the issues that are stored in the area is really helpful.
And we don't always know. Like we're not always consciously tracking for, oh my gosh, I'm really worried about my granddaughter. And funny thing, I've got this kink in my neck. Like it seems to be that we don't always connect those issues. And so I'm wondering how you help people do that, do that connection, or do they need to consciously be aware of what it is they're worried about? Maybe they don't. I don't know. I'd love to know.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. As a massage therapist, people would come and usually they wouldn't have made those connections. I just run through my life doing my thing and, oh, why do I have this symptom? Helping them understand, make the connection is like, oh, I didn't realize that thing in my life is affected to this. So bringing awareness to that, working with the energy, I will assess where the energy is flowing and where it's stuck.
And you can do that with a tuning fork, correct?
That's the tuning fork and my intuitive senses.
Right.
Yeah. I can see, the energy is stuck here. Okay. And having spoken with the person a little bit about their history and about the things that are going on, they might not make the connection between the things going on in their life and the symptom. But intuitively, their beingness shows me what's connected to what. And so when I have that awareness, when I'm working with somebody, I trust that whatever it is that comes into my mind while I'm talking with them is for them. And what I say is people's bodies talk to me. So when I'm talking with them, it's like, oh, that thing that we talked about, when we did our initial conversation, that's connected to this. So I point that out. I say that. And immediately, a lot of times, the energy shifts. So if what's going on with the granddaughter, because she's stressed about what's happening with her family right now, right? That, I mentioned that, and then I would see the energy start to flow through. So that by saying, this is what is in here, and making that connection consciously enables their energy to flow. I look at it that symptoms are my body and my beingness's way of getting my attention. Pay attention to this. You need to do something about this. The only way the system has to bring my awareness to it is to have me pay attention to it, to give me a signal. And so that's what I think symptoms are. And whether it's something about my health or something about my business or something about my relationships, I have been finding so important is what's happening for people in their relationships when it comes to what's happening about the flow of their life. I've got clients who, their daughters aren't speaking with them and strain in the relationship with their husband. And I help them understand human design is a chart based on your birth date that says a lot about who you are. And I look at people's charts. I help them understand their charts and what motivates them, what drives them, what their skills and abilities are. And the same thing about their family members where there's strain. And understand, okay, you and this person, these are the reasons why you can't talk to each other. Or, one of my clients, she wasn't able to go visit her granddaughter because her relationship with her daughter was so strained that her daughter wouldn't let her come. I helped her understand her human design chart, her daughter's human design chart, and gave her suggestions on how to interact with her daughter. Changed everything. In the past several months, she's been to see her granddaughter for extended trips and staying at their house because their relationship is so much better because of this understanding.
Beautiful.
So, yeah, these kinds of things get in the way of people's goals, whatever they are. That this client has not been really focusing on her business because of the strain of having her relationships being difficult. She hasn't needed to prioritize her business because these other things have been a higher priority.
Well, and they've been taking energy to, like taking bandwidth from the amount of energy she's had available for the business. Because I so get that when there's something amiss in a relationship, it is so hard to focus. And I love what you're saying about human design. I've never done human design, but I have a lot of clients who are familiar with it at least. And it sounds like a real power tool for relationships and for understanding ourselves. And it's like I had a real huge aha in my own relationship with my children when I started to learn about the distinction between being an introvert and an extrovert. And
Mm-hmm.
that's nowhere near as powerful as human design is, I recognize. But even just that little understanding that I'm an ambivert. I love recharging with people, and I can do that for a long time. And I really need my introverted time. Well, I suddenly one day realized two of my kids are introverts. They don't want to socialize. They don't want to go out with me. They don't want to have fun. They don't want to have people over. Like they recharge by being on their own. And as soon as I understood that, I think they think, but I feel that I became a much more sensitive parent and a more understanding parent, and our relationships improved significantly just from that tiny little piece.
Yes,
So I can only imagine what doing human design would do for us. Like that's like I say, it's like a power tool for human relationships.
it makes so much sense. And if I have something I want to accomplish, including, a goal of having peace and harmony and happiness and satisfaction in my family, right? If that's a goal, I put that out. Imagine I'm on a path, and where I am now is here, and I'm on the path. But there's all these boulders that come up in the way, things that aren't working, limiting beliefs, things I don't think are possible. I see them as being like boulders in the path that keep me from getting to the outcome that I want. But I like to look at it that whatever these things are, it's my ability to do something about it. A lot of times people have situations happening in their life, and it's like, oh, I can't have what I want. And they feel stuck. When I believe that ultimately it's all energy and it's all up to me. I am the person who makes the decisions about what happens in my life, my business, my relationships. Where can I take action on those things? And what are the beliefs that I have in my way? These big barriers. Healing the barriers, the limitations, the I'm not good enough. They don't listen to me. When I work with these people whose daughters, for example, aren't talking with them, they can be really hopeless and helpless about this. A different person, has three daughters, two of whom weren't talking with her. And she felt completely unable to have an impact on those relationships. Looking at the human design, helping her make sense of it, and giving her practical strategies, again, based on her design and their designs, for being able to start having different conversations with these family members so that that stuff that's always happened in the relationship is no longer this big barrier, but she has a way to get down that path of relationship to having more peace and harmony and satisfaction in her family. And to give her the power to be able to have that impact was a huge thing. And another thing that happens is like when these relationships are so difficult, the person thinks it's my fault. There's something wrong with me. There's something different that I'm not doing the right thing. And feeling disempowered and not able to do anything at all. And, for a mother with the love for their child, they want their child to be happy and effective in the world. and seeing their child not just having difficult relationships with them, but with other people in the world, that's very stressful for the mother. It's like, my daughter is not going to be the successful person she wants to be in the world because of this challenge with relating, which is true. Being able to interact with the daughter and improve the mother-daughter relationship. The daughter then has the ability to learn better communication skills and relating skills so that their other relationships have the possibility of getting better through the conversations initiated by the mother, my client. Changes so much.
Another thing that I really love about what you're talking about, Sandra Lee, is um, making that shift from feeling like a victim, like all of these things are happening to me, to being an agent of
Mm-hmm.
activity in your own life. I think that's kind of a subtle shift in a lot of ways, but what a powerful gift to be able to give people to make that switch from, like I say, feeling victimized, like I can't believe this is happening to me, to doing something about it to get a better result.
Yeah.
That's huge.
These, in these relationship issues, these are things that have been going on for decades. I mean, both of these women have adult daughters who aren't talking with them. There is so much history built into that dynamic. And it can make it challenging to change the pattern. And this is one of those situations where it's not possible for, like, imagining it's me, right? It's not possible for me to work on the issue all myself. I do healing work, but I'm so close to my issues, I can't see them clearly. I need somebody with an outside of my head perspective to suggest things to me so I have the possibility of looking at things differently, because I can't read the label on my own box. It's not possible for people to heal themselves and to change their patterns all alone. Human beings are not designed to be able to do everything by themselves. We're designed to need people. And so by helping these women look at themselves and their relationships differently and give different suggestions on ways to behave, we get really conditioned. I do this and you do that. I do this, you do that. And I think of it as being like in a pigeonhole, right? Somebody else, say my daughter, right, expects me to be in this little pigeonhole. These are the only behaviors I can have. And when my client, instead of being in the pigeonhole, does something different, what happens initially is that the daughter says, "What are you doing? You're not behaving the way you always behave. You're doing something different." So when I coach my clients to try something different, I understand that it's going to upset the dynamic that has been established for decades in this relationship, where the daughter has all of the control and the parent, the mother, doesn't. All right? So by having them do something different, it's upsetting the balance. And the child starts reacting differently, and something different becomes possible in the relationship because we're not following the same old path that we've always followed. And that's what leads to the possibility of a grandmother being able to finally spend time with a grandchild, because we change the pattern.
Well, you're also raising the vibration of that individual so that she has more to bring to her work. Like I just
Yes.
think of the difference in my own effectiveness. When I'm feeling a little blue, I don't bring a whole lot of energy to what I'm doing. But when I'm feeling up and feeling cheerful, man, get out of my way, because there's no stopping me. Like I just feel I could take on the world. And so I really appreciate what you do for people, Sandra Lee. Like that's huge.
By removing the stress associated with one of the most important things in a person's life. their children and the relationship with their children and grandchildren if there are grandchildren. It's like people are so in love with their grandchildren, and imagine not being able to spend time with your grandchild. It's got to be one of the most painful things available. And so to take that area of life and have it be stressful to, we're getting along, frees them up for their business or for holidays or for whatever it is they decide they really want to do. It makes so many things more possible.
I imagine this would work with partners as well, and
Yes.
or a coworker or a manager or a boss or something like that. There's an unlimited way you could apply these tools, really, aren't there?
Yes. I was, just this week, I was talking with this same client and her husband, where there's all sorts of things where they're bashing heads. It's like, but, I mean, and not able to get a path through it without help. Because again, they've been in this dynamic for decades. And so you're in your pigeonhole and you're in your pigeonhole, and we always do the same old thing with nothing different becoming available. And so I talked with them. It's like, okay, so they described one of their situations, because we already went through both charts. Okay. They talked about both of the situations, and this is what he makes it mean, and this is what she makes it mean. I was like, okay. And I make sense from the charts why this happens this way, why you respond this way, and why you respond this way is based on your human design charts. And then try this instead. A solution based on the human design chart. And ask, I was very respectful. I was saying, so are you open to trying something different? Are you open to trying something different? Yes, yes. Okay, so if we do it this way instead, will that help you feel like you're getting what you need? Yes. Will that help you feel like you're getting what you need? Yes. Okay. We have a new pathway out of this stuck box that you've been in for decades. And what they really want is just to be fun being together. And to both also have their preferences, their desires be heard and listened to, and sometimes to get what they want. But they were also both willing to compromise. And it changes everything. They're going on holidays next week, and they're going to experiment with this new dynamic. So amazing, the peace and happiness that are possible then. And then they will also be more able to do their work and their business without the stress of what's going on at home.
Amazing. The possibilities you make available to people, Sandra Lee, are just so huge, so inspiring. And I'm wondering, what's the best way for people to work with you? How can people get in touch with you to start this ball rolling towards a brighter and more impactful way of being in the world?
They can contact me and have, I call them action plan calls, where we talk about what you want and the situations that you are dealing with, and then come up with a plan for how to find new solutions. I also have a free gift. So in February, I am having an Energize Your Vision group sound healing call for your 2025 business goals. And it's going to be an energy healing session, a group session, where we're going to do intuitive work, having people focus on their goals. What do you want? Having many different levels of goals and things like that, so that you can get really excited and energized and in the flow with the things that you want to accomplish this year. So the Energize Your Vision session is available exclusively through the grand giveaway. This is a big group giveaway where each person has a free gift they're offering for people to go and just take advantage of. So this Energize Your Vision session is going to be February 12th, but you sign up for it through the grand giveaway. So information will be available for the grand giveaway with the video.
Super.
And
Well,
I have to say, I
yeah.
love doing these group sessions. The sound healing, the biofield tuning fork, and the intuitive information that I receive. So there's people in the group, and they have things that they want to work on in the session. So they say what that is, and then I do my thing, and intuitive stuff comes up, and they're so transformative, these sessions. People love them. So I look forward to having any of you come and join me for this session. It's designed for business goals, but really you can work on anything, whatever your goals are.
Magnificent. Thank you so much, Sandra Lee. I've so enjoyed our time together, and I really wish you well. And anybody who's listening, please do sign up for the grand giveaway and make sure you take advantage of Sandra Lee's Energize Your Vision opportunity. I can't imagine anything more impactful to really get the year going in the direction that we want it to. So thank you, my friend. Such an honor to be here with you.
I do want to leave people with one last point.
Okay.
Whatever it is that's going on in your life, in your business, that you might feel like it's out of your control, know that ultimately it is in your control. You get to decide, are there barriers in my path that I can't have what I want? We can take care of the barriers so that you have more of the experience that you want to have.
Wonderful and magical and practical.
Yes.
all the right things.
Thank you, everybody. And a while ago, we did an interview where I interviewed Susan. So I'll link to that interview with this one so that if you want to hear her talk about books and helping people, supporting people in writing, then that will be accessible to you as well. So thank you, everybody, for watching.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.